No matter how many times the teeth bites the tongue, they always remain companions. Our two eyes can never see each other, but they see the same thing whenever they look. They shed tears together, and that is the simple definition of unity, tolerance, and peaceful coexistence. Though the axe is strong and sharp, it cannot cut the hair the way a sharp razor blade would. We all have our differences, and these differences should be our bond and source of unity, and the only way we can develop and grow is to tolerate and respect one another's faith, existence, belief, and ideologies, as long as they do not trample on other people's rights. Peace is not the absence of war, but the presence of justice. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, peace-loving people of Plateau State. Glad to welcome you to the Thursday edition of your number one dynamic socio-political breakfast tonic and conscience-pricking program on radio. Political update coming to you live on Silverbird, Radio 93.7 FM here in the city of Jos. We try our best to go across the length and breadth of our communities, our local governments, our state, the nation, and even beyond the shores of this country to bring up issues that are trending, analyze them to the best of our abilities, place the options on the table, then allow you to make your own personal choice and informed decisions. My name is Pam Dunquiz, and of course the king of boys, Ambassador Bello Lukman, who is looking elegant and gorgeous this morning, is already seated and kitted and equipped to take us down our destination of 12 noon with political analysis. Bello, good morning.
And of course, I'm starting the program with jollification, with happiness, with passion, with enthusiasm this morning. You know why? Because that's now we're able to make my night jollificate because of the victory that we actually had over Brighton yesterday. And to also hear the other result that Man City actually drew, that actually made my night a very, very magnificent, fascinating, and captivating night. Congratulations to all Arsenal fans. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, egalitarian passengers that listen to us out there with better breath. Special good morning, a friend, body, and brother, David Friday. And to me, behind the Facebook, I'm not forgetting fine boy journalist Ugolistic Ugo, who is also with us, who's behind the TV. Good morning to you.
All right, today we'll be touching on a lot of issues that are trending across the length and breadth of the country. And these issues, if you ask me, a lot of Nigerians have been so concerned, so worried about whether we are actually going to see the light of the day as far as these issues are concerned. But then, Bello, I saw a story that has been trending on the media. I also saw it on your Facebook page this morning, and I asked myself the question, where is the problem of Nigeria and who are the problems of Nigeria? Why am I saying this, Bello? I saw a post where they said that a certain Sheikh Alkali Abubakar Salih Huzaria was actually suspended by their own sect. And what are the reasons? The simple reasons are that this man actually called out names of people that are in government, including those that are serving governors and those that are appointees of the federal government, calling on their attention that the north is bleeding, not just because of a nose bleeding, but it is actually bleeding in insecurity, bleeding in poverty, bleeding in every aspect as far as human welfare is concerned. But then suddenly we heard that the man has been suspended because he is using words that are, to some people's understanding, derogatory and deforming in their own interpretation. I ask this question, Bello: who are the enemies of Nigeria? We have a lot of clerics, whether Christians or Muslims, that when they speak, then you begin to ask, are you sympathizing with terrorists or are you on the side of the victims? Because this man appears to be speaking on behalf of the victims whose voices are not heard. Today we have a lot of Nigerians, Bello, that they have no option than to obey what the terrorists tell them because government have failed. And we are calling with a bombastic voice, whether we like it or not. Nigerians are crying of insecurity from every region, the 6 political zones, as we speak this morning.
It's very, very sad and unfortunate that this is exactly what we are seeing. I think this is the part 2 of Digital Imam Saga.
Yes.
You remember when Digital Imam during Buhari's time was also speaking truth to power, and some senators actually felt slighted, they felt disenchanted, they felt disgruntled, and they felt that their own productive proclivity, and that is their industry, politics, was actually being threatened because the man said if insecurity is not mitigated upon, is not addressed, people should not go out to vote.
Yeah.
And the man that gave him the marks felt that indeed this is actually a big threat to his own industry, to his own politics, because this is the only business probably that senator actually was aware of, and he didn't want anything that will actually truncate it. And they removed Digital Imam from that mosque. That today, Digital Imam is in another mosque, and he's festering, he is blossoming, he is flourishing. And I think the same thing will happen to Alkali Zaria, because once you are actually on the side of the truth, three things you can never hide: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And that's exactly what that man was able to tell people. If it were to be in the southwest, that man will be celebrated, and comment will be put on him, eulogy will be given to him, in fact flowers will be given to him, because that is exactly what the people want to hear. Go on the social media, see the way Alkali Zaria is being celebrated by the common men, because they're looking for somebody that will be like a mediator and intercessor. Sometimes when people speak, especially at the lower rung, nobody bothers to listen. But when a cleric speaks, especially in the northern part of the country, then the government will listen. And that's exactly the impact that I think that what Alkali Zaria was able to actually give has also been impacted, and he should just go home, because he has actually been able to be welcomed into the Hall of Fame as far as public opinionists like us are concerned, as far as posterity is concerned, as far as the history of this agitation is concerned, as far as the local, state and federal government in terms of the orientation to the entire inclination to knowledge is concerned. So he shouldn't disturb himself. He has written his name on the endless side of time, where others were telling the world that they are eating food, and when you are eating you cannot talk. Alkali Zaria was able to show that indeed, I'm not eating, I'm hungry, but I can talk. And my voice is bombastic, my voice is belligerent to those that are supposed to also really take action. My voice is actually a sword. And that was exactly what he was able to do. So give the entire flower to Alkali Zaria this morning, Pablo Quiz, if you ask me.
Bello, now we understand that we have newly co-opted or registered members into the National Association of Respecters of Table Manners, including the clerics, because where you eat, you don't speak. You just keep quiet. Whatever the person that serves you food says, whether it's right or wrong, you just nod your head in acceptance that indeed you are telling the truth.
I'm no quiz. There are so many people today that have turned to economists. In their home, they plan their resources. They try their best to see how they can also plan their finance. They plan their children's education. They plan for their retirement. They plan their household expenses. They plan their hospital bills, because of the fact that they have a lean way of getting money. And in even the religious realm, that you will have expected that with the number of Muslims and Christians we are having, after all, zakat is the number 3 pillar of Islam. It's supposed to be as important as fasting. For example, look at the number of rich Muslims that we have. But do you know that the Zakat Foundation, there are 5 of them in Nigeria.
Okay.
They were able to transparently tell the world that last year, 2025, 736 million was what was distributed as Zakat in 2025. Now we are aware that 85 to 95% Muslims fast during Ramadan. But then only 20% give out Zakat. And Zakat is the 3rd pillar of Islam. That is a moral, social, and economic system designed to purify your wealth. That is designed to uplift society and strengthen faith. What is bad in 2.5% of one's wealth? Once you're having 19.1 million. Pablo Quiz, how many Nigerians, how many Muslims, let's take it from there, do not have 19.1 million in their account, that 2.5% of it, you have to give it to somebody that is. Imagine if it is true that we are actually abhorrent of religion and we are practicing it the way we should. How many poor people are we going to be seeing in society, if at all we are strictly? How can 736 million be what the entire Zakat Foundation in Nigeria
is generating?
Is generating and distributing to over 1,000 and something people only.
Bello,
But we are first to pontificate about carrying religion on our heads.
Bello, I was privileged to interact with somebody, I don't want to mention the name, and I asked myself, if this is true, then we are losing it completely. We are not actually practicing the religion the way it should be practiced. Because even in the Bible, it talks about whatever you do to the least of your brethren,
Exactly.
you are doing it unto God.
Exactly.
When I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink.
Yes.
When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was homeless, you sheltered me. When I was sick, you visited me. Bello, I had it from a reliable source. But then, I don't want to mention the location. That a certain Nigerian, those days, years ago, bought 50 SUVs because his children want to get married. Here in the northern part of Nigeria. And they were looking for drivers that will be driving those vehicles. That's what I heard. For the period of time that they will be preparing for the wedding until after the wedding. Guess what they will be paying them? 300,000 naira on a daily basis.
Just imagine
that was what I heard from a reliable source. I know the person is listening now. He might want to send a text message
to confirm.
Now, Bello, if somebody like this have this kind of wealth, let's take account of states within the northern region of Nigeria and check how many of them have good health facilities, how many of them have good roads, how many of them have good hospitals, how many of them have good schools where children can go there to study. Yet we learned that there's a man who actually bought 50 SUVs, and guess what? That after everything, those SUVs were given out. I also learned that the same man built a brand new event center just to host the wedding of his children, after which he donated it. So we ask the question, are we actually practicing real religion or political religion?
That's exactly the question we're asking everybody out there, and please search your own conscience too. In your own neighborhood, how many people are you uplifting? How many people have you also ensured that at least you blossom and also make their fortune to boom? These are questions and challenges that we are also challenging ourselves out there. Let's do a soul searching. Let's do a reflection. Let's have an introspection. Let's do a psychoanalysis of ourselves. Umar bin Khattab, he does not sleep on daily basis until he carries a biro and paper to assess himself on daily basis. He tells himself, yes, that I know that I lied at so minutes. Let me go and beg God for forgiveness. I knew I did this, and this is my good part also. So can you also do a self-introspection, and an psychoanalysis of yourself?
Wow. All right, Bello, if you are ready, let's take the first story on the Punch newspaper. And I want to believe that if this actually sees the light of the day, a lot of Nigerians will celebrate. But then we hope it will not be abused, as some people have already laid their fears that definitely some people might want to use this for political gains. State Police, IG sets up panel to propose framework. And you know that these are some of the things that Nigerians actually expected during the tenure of Egbetekun would see the light of the day. But we saw reports, some verified, some unverified, that he actually confronted the president to tell him that this is not the best time for Nigeria to have a state police for this reason, for that reason. And we have seen politicians even serving once in the National Assembly, including Plateau State, that have told anyone that cares to listen that we don't need state police. Rather, what we need is community police. And what can a community policeman do with a damn gun facing a man that will come with AK-47 and even what do you call them, anti-aircraft guns and the rest of them? So we are saying this morning that if this should see the light of the day, then definitely we give plaudits to the man that just came into power, and we hope this is going to not to be abused by those in power, because if that happens, then definitely we have not started anything.
Pablo Quiz, sometimes when things happen to you, just give God the glory. Because I was in the FCT headquarters last week, at the headquarters Abuja, myself and Timmy, and thank God he's here. And we were among the first to see that breaking news, because we were inside the place where the news was actually happening. So in fact, I didn't just want to also stir trouble. I will have been the first to break that news. But eventually, if it's also really a rumor, then I will also go for it.
Sure.
So I became careful. Why did I say it's actually a good thing that particular affliction happened to me? It has made me know more people, not only on the plateau as far as the police is concerned, but at the headquarters. And I'll tell you for free that for my benefit of hindsight, from my level of interaction with those friends that they didn't know they were actually introducing me to, by taking my case not even to Plateau State but to the FCT headquarters Abuja, now I'm getting first-hand, undiluted, unmixed information.
Directly from the source.
That I would also protect my source. That's the beauty. Now I'll tell you that 3 things that made them to remove Egbetokun. If not for this, my journey, I wouldn't have had this information, privileged one, for the entire people of Plateau. Number 1, his posture on state police. Do you know that Egbetokun challenged the president?
Yeah, directly.
He even issued a paper at a function where he was invited to come and deliver a paper on why we shouldn't go on state police, on why it's not yet time for state police. And your principal that appointed you, who you were a CSO, when you were where he was a governor in Lagos State, had always gone round the length and breadth of everywhere that he actually has the opportunity to tell people that the best thing that should happen to us after the discovery of Gote and probably Amala.
I hope Dave will not take it up with you.
He's actually state police. He has, in fact, he has met with the Senate.
Yeah.
He has met with the governors. He has not hidden his desire
For state police.
and we are with him on this. But you have a principal, an IG, that thinks that no, that might also dilute his own powers, because that's the way I look at it. If not, we are talking about an administration that gave you power, even over people that senior you, but yet, because power has actually become absolute in your hands, you feel that sharing that power with probably other units might jeopardize your own absolutism. That's the way I look at it. Do you know that he had to issue counter statement to say no, that was not what he meant at that public lecture, that it was the press. You know, the press is always the fall guy.
Yeah.
It was the press that misconstrued, because I'm sure that even at that moment where he delivered that lecture 2025, they must have frowned at him from the presidency, but he had to reissue that rejoinder and rebooter. Number 2, the president said withdraw all police from VIPs
and let them be replaced by
NSCDC. Guess what? That is a big enterprise where they are making lots of billions. What did they do? They felt they were clever by half. They withdrew the policemen, but they only withdrew their uniform. You can be going there in your mufti.
Okay.
And you think the president will not get information from other sources? Or you think that this president is holed up in Aso Rock to the extent that he doesn't have people on ground, that even their VIPs themselves are his friends, that can even share this information with him? You understand? Number 3, his attitude towards Tunji Disu. Tunji Disu, the present Inspector General, was the ADC when Bola Owasiu left. So you could see that this president works with people that were with him when he was a governor. So he already knew that if there is any other person, he was the CSO, Tunji Disu was the ADC, and Bola Lawa Wasiu is now the Oba of Oniru. So he is out of the way. If there is anybody that might be competing with him for the position of IG, he knows with the template and framework of Asiwaju, that person is Tunji Disu. Then you continue to remove Tunji Disu from the headquarters. Continue to toast him
around like table tennis.
Like a table tennis egg. Apologies to our friend that knows how to play table tennis very well, but I always beat him every time. Pablo Quiz, do you know that that singular thing made those Lagos boys at their meeting, when they had the opportunity to speak to the president, to bring to his consciousness the treatment of Tunji Disu, who was supposed to be a principal officer to the IG, and that nail, that was the last
nail that
closed the coffin. And they told him to his face, they summoned him to Aso Rock, and they told him to resign. He said please, they should give him more time, at least till next year after the election. The president said go and submit your resignation now. I'm telling you from benefit of hindsight. That's why I say at least my people of Plateau, be ready to be getting undiluted, unmixed, unedited information. And whatever we tell you, go to the bank with that word, because it's a bond from the real police. Now back to the issue. I love Tunji Disu, because he has shown to the world that he's not ready to mudsling. He's not ready to waste time. He already knew the reason why the other man was removed. So he is just like he's waiting to start the job. And on starting the job, the first day in office, you're reading your president's mind, you're reading the principal's mind, and you know that the best thing you can do is to give him what he wants and what Nigerians want. So this is a proactive approach to addressing insecurity, because law enforcement will definitely respond better, and law enforcement responsibilities will be decentralized to meet the security need of the citizens. Security will be more effective with state police, it will be more efficient, and response to security areas will also be faster. But then there are big elephants in the room. Number one is the constitutional amendment. Can we ensure that at least we go straight to section 214 that establishes the Nigerian police force as the primary law enforcement agency in the country to be able to be safe if we can twerk the national anthem in one day?
And it becomes take 1 hour.
Exactly. It becomes a law, a constitutional provision, scaling first reading, second reading, third reading. Now we don't even need the committee stage. Now we don't even need a public hearing. Can we be exact about this? Can we be deliberate about twerking this particular constitution? Because people in Taraba, people in Kwara, people in Riyom, people in Barkinladi, people in Bassa do not have the luxury of this time that we might actually want to waste on this particular venture. They want to hear that a solution has arrived that will make these people that come to kill, that come to maim, that come to steal, that come to destroy, will actually have a rethink. Katsina, Zamfara, Niger. Do you know that in Kagarko local government of Kaduna State, bandits stormed the area last week? They kidnapped 14 people, including one Ahmed Umar and his wife Fatima. And the bandits called their intercessor in the area yesterday, telling them to bring 1 bag of rice, 1 bag of beans, 1 bag of maize, 1 gallon of oil, 1 gallon or one pack of seasoning, because for now it's not even yet time for ransom. They want to feed the people they've abducted, as if the people told you they don't have food in their home. But that is the situation and desperation that we're actually facing. It is that perilous, it is that urgent, it is that serious, it is that dangerous, it is that hazardous. So that's why we should also address it with the urgency that it deserves. Section 215 of the Constitution also talked about the function of the IGP. So when we must also talk about state police, it is not captured in this section. Can we also look at that? Now that they've been given, I think, 2 weeks to perform magic,
the 8-man committee,
can we also ensure the capacity building, the training, the recruitment of whoever we want to bring to bear as far as this state policing is concerned is captured in this framework that the IG has taxed? They will be paid for this job. We are not going to be paid, but we are giving you our own inputs that you need to include in that memorandum you are going to submit for free of charge. Because if all these thematic areas we are mentioning are not included, then that particular venture is as good as dead on arrival. Can we talk about the equipment of this state police so that they don't start and then we start looking for equipment, and then we start talking about the equipment in the hands of the bandits, bigger and more superior than the ones that are also in the hands of the police? So this is also part of what they should also be looking out for. How about infrastructure, the accommodation? Can we also start capturing it right now, so that it's not when they start that we'll see rickety areas, we'll see shambolic, deplorable areas, and they'll say no, that is exactly where they say the state police should start managing for now? No, this is a big venture that requires a very big pragmatic solution. Can we start inculcating accountability into the system so that whoever will be recruited knows that he actually is going to be checked, and the balancing must be to report back to Nigerians in terms of feedback, in terms of allegiance, in terms of obeisance? Can we inculcate respect for human rights in the new police so that Nigerians will not turn against them as enemies? Because perception is everything. Why people trust this program is because of perception. because they can predict that we will be balanced. But when people can predict that you will always take side, there are people that will even off their radio because they already know what you can do. Can we also ensure that in terms of professionalism, these people that we want to recruit and give uniform to and give guns to, they are actually professional in nature? Integrity is another thing we must also really inculcate and abide by in terms of what we actually want them to do. Can we ensure their allocation of resources is actually probably from the consolidated revenue fund? Is it 1%? Is it 2%? Every federal, every state, every local government should actually be given its own from the source. We don't want a situation where the money that is supposed to go to the funding of the state police will end up in one person's pocket, and the people that will be sacrificing their lives, because at the end of the day, the same vigilantes that are helping the police, that we're expecting that they should be recruited as the first line of action and defense. So at the end of the day, now that they've actually started a job that has insurance, that has what is called retirement benefits,
yes,
that has pension, can they also be getting what is due them at the right time? Can we have a clear operational framework between the federal and the states? Then can we ensure that in guiding against abuse, we have a board that will be checking the excesses of this particular state police? Because the fear everybody tells you is that they can be abused. And I always say, imagine a state police in the hand of Fubara. On that day that he was going to the House of Assembly to go and break down the House of Assembly, and he is the one that is the chief security officer, and he is the one that actually recruits and even appoints the head of that particular state organization. What do you think will happen? And you have a wiki that is having the federal support. Just like in Nigeria, you can predict what happened at the judiciary level from the federal court and the state court. So we don't want a situation where we will now start using this police to fight personal war, because most of these people, their allegiance is not to the constitution, it's not to the people, it's to their principal. I remember somebody that is close to a governor that once told me that anybody that stands in the way of my principal, I fire. This was what the person told me. I don't want to mention his name. So it tells you now, imagine that kind of person now. If there is a political logjam somewhere, how do you think that person will react when somebody is serving as an adversary to that his principal? And that his principal, another person also has his own principal. So where will we actually draw the line? What is the point of confluence? What is the point of divergence? What is the point of collaboration? Can we ensure public awareness campaign? Why do you think conglomerates, whenever you're watching football match, you see companies that already people know, but they continue their campaign because they want to sink themselves into your consciousness? Can we have such a campaign about state police so that the people in Bukuru, the people in Wasi, company Zirak, the people in Kanam, the people in Bassa, the people in Rion can buy into this new initiative, and they will actually feel it in their stream, in their blood, that indeed something new is already on ground, and we want to also be the foot soldiers of this particular venture that is about to come in. I rest my case, Pamdo Quiz.
Hello, you have thought so much on this issue, and I can tell you for free that anybody that have ears must have listened. Anybody that have eyes must have seen that indeed we are trying our best. All these things we are raising here is not to say that we want to rile anybody or to denigrate anybody, but we are saying that from when this man is starting, or from the position he's standing now, it's obvious that the man is ready to do the job.
Exactly.
Number one,
I see that even on his face.
So now
the passion is there, the commitment is there.
Number one, as you rightly said, Bello, can we look at the welfare of the police?
Yes.
It's not far from here. Just 200 naira will take you to the police headquarters here in Jos. Go and see the houses of the police and ask yourself, can you be proud to snap this and put it on your social media handle and show the world that this is where our police are staying as homes? Can we also check what is the propriety of their children's studies? Because a man who is not sure of paying his child's school fees might be tempted to go into another way to ensure that he's able to raise that money by fire, by force.
Exactly.
So we must prioritize their welfare. But look, can we also check abuse of power? We have seen people, as you rightly said, the man who said that anybody who stands in the way of my principal, I will fire that person. Ordinarily, if it were to be in developed times, Bello, this man would be in prison because it's already a threat to the society.
Yes.
For you to make that statement, it means you cannot be trusted. Even your principal cannot trust you, because the day power shifts hand and you are now taken to another principal, your own former principal may be in trouble.
Exactly.
Because you are there to defend the man in power and not the institution, not the constitution.
Yes.
But Lord, we have seen in other crimes where police will be the one to actually arrest or invite a prime minister to come and prove himself whether he's right or wrong. But in this part of the world, you can predict, as you rightly said, if today a state government have a case with somebody at the federal level and they take that case to the state high court, which is a court of concurrent jurisdiction with the federal high court, but Lord, be rest assured that the state government will always win.
Yes.
If the person at the federal level decide to take it to the federal capital or the federal high court, be rest assured that the judgment will be given in favor of the person at the federal level.
It has a lot to do with the recruitment process, because who actually appoints the state chief judge? Who appoints those judges that are actually in those courts? So that's exactly why you will always see that most of their judgment will also try to be in tandem with the person that appointed them. And Pablo Quiz, again, can we also be very, very deliberate about the issue of resources? I keep repeating. Because in this country, we have seen where a president make a statement about a disaster, and yet you will actually see that that particular thing 1 year on, the president's speech is not what the microphone or the paper that particular speech was written on. Why am I saying this? Last year, we had the Mokwa incident. You remember that that particular issue shook the entire country. But if you see the revelation coming from Mokwa, where Daily Trust was able to go there by themselves, and the plight of the victims remain a stain on the conscience of our government, both at the federal, at the state, and the local level. Bridges were destroyed, you are aware of that.
Sure.
Roads were destroyed, houses were destroyed, hospitals collapsed, and almost everything actually became deplorable. And Makwa, for those that travel very well, is a key artery that links the north and the south. So it's as important as any other intercessor in Nigeria. Many victims, according to Daily Trust, remain homeless. 3 of the 4 collapsed bridges are yet to receive any single attention. But guess what? On June 4, 2025, President Bola Tinubu directed the immediate release of 2 billion for the rebuilding of houses for victims. President Bola Tinubu directed the immediate release
of 2 billion
for the rebuilding of houses for victims. In August 2025, the president again approved another 16.7 billion for the urgent reconstruction of the bridges destroyed by the flooding. But the progress as we speak right now is still very, very minimal. The Dandilo of Mokwa, Alhaji Muhammad Shaba Aliyu, expressed dissatisfaction over unfulfilled promises. This is the latest news. Add this to what the governor of the state, Governor Umar Bagu, on June 1, 2025, announced the reconstruction of houses and bridges, and he said he has released 7 billion for that purpose. And he also pledged the sum of 1 billion for the victims. But the victims who spoke to Daily Trust said, up to now, no single house has been reconstructed.
Okay.
Out of 4 bridges, only 1 has actually gotten the attention of government. 3 of those bridges, as we speak right now, that's why those that travel will tell you that they always spend 5 hours now because of those bridges that up to this moment have not been reconstructed. Then guess what was given to the people? Those that lost their homes with all these monies, so that people can also start calculating and permutating on their own. If you have lost a house or you are a tenant, you are given 500,000 naira. But your house has not been rebuilt. Will 500,000 rebuild that house for you? With all these monies that we are also talking about. If you have lost a loved one, you receive 1 million naira.
Benlo, you see, it's obvious that in this part of the world, what needs to be taken serious turns to comedy.
That's it.
And what's supposed to be comical is what we take serious.
Now, this money is now, probably somebody somewhere has actually used this money probably to take his own children abroad.
Now, Benlo,
at the detriment of sorrow, at the detriment of anguish, at the detriment of tears, at the detriment of bickering, at the detriment of grief. How do you reconcile this? How do you sleep at night?
Benlo, some people say trust is like a ghost. So many people talk about it, but only a few have encountered trust.
Exactly.
So that is the case or the situation of the people in Makwa as we speak right now. Benlo is an insult. It's an abuse. In fact, it's a big slap on the face of these people. And the same people now, I can bet you, this is 2026. They will be the first to go there and do a flag off that your houses will be constructed between now and 2027.
Yes.
Because they want to win election. And they will release money. But ask this question, Benlo. Before Makwa happened, Borno happened. What is the propriety of the people in Borno State?
Exactly.
Now, Benlo, whether we like it or not, we have seen a high level of abuse of power by people in government. And we are saying that if Disu will be given a free hand to operate,
yes,
but under the constitution,
yes,
not his personal thinking,
exactly,
not as far as he's concerned,
exactly,
but what the constitution says, to protect and defend the life of the people, then we are standing with him 110%.
110.
If at all the state police, as you rightly said, let the recruitment be based on professionals and not people that probably are constituting nuisance in society.
Don't come and recruit Bello Lukman because I don't have the liver. So I wouldn't say because I want to be receiving 150 or 200,000 every month.
Then
when they tell me that Bokos is under attack, then I'm looking for the nearest toilet to go and hide.
Or I'm sick.
So I am out. I don't know if Pam is interested. Or Ugo is interested.
What to me?
But Pablo Quiz, there are people out there. Go and ask Friday or Motor Show in Ukubaru. There are people out there that on their own, they are willing, they are passionate.
That's cosmetic.
Yes,
he's a businessman.
Passionate to be amongst these people because it is in their DNA. Those are the people we should go and look for. Let's go and get them and you will see the job done.
Benlo, if I begin to list down some names for you, you'll be wondering. We have people that actually submitted themselves. Elders, not just ordinary people. We have the owner of Aderije. He's a hunter. He is a hunter and he always wears uniform with pride. We have a man in Bassa who goes by the name Ben Okenwe. He is also a member of the community police. This man also goes out in the night.
Obitex, our friend.
Digital photos.
Yes.
Victor Mbono, Elegant Cosmetics.
Exactly.
He's a proud volunteer. Go to Bauchi Road and see where these people wear the uniform with pride.
With pride and happiness.
But now we are saying, can we start working on these issues you raised, from the recruitment process to their welfare to the weapons that they will be using? Because it is not for you to buy 10 guns for them, or maybe if you are recruiting 10,000 people and you buy 1,000 guns for a start. These people that come to attack, they come with buckets of bullets and they are willing and ready to waste them. So we are saying that, as already said, there is no time to waste time. If we could pass the bill to change the national anthem in one day, Benlo, it should not take us more than 6 hours to actually amend the constitution to ensure that state police is also included in the constitution. Benlo, I remember a man, because of the urgency of the situation, he was a director of personnel, Dara James Danjang. I know he's listening right now. This man works from home even during weekends. If you come with an issue that needs a signature and you go through it and see the urgency of the need, and he see the authenticity of that document, and he knows that you cannot wait till Monday, he always have his stamp at home. He will sign it and tell you when you go, come to the office for other verification so that we can seal everything, because you want to address that issue now. Bello, it's not time for politics.
Yes.
It's not time for us to begin to say we are allocating lists to senators, allocating lists to House of Rep members, allocating lists to governors. No, this is not politics. Let's have a state police commission that will be in charge.
Yes.
Just like we have suggested severally. Can we see this police service commission be the one to suggest who becomes the next IG to the president, not the president using his own discretion? Can we also have the Nigerian Judicial Council being the one to actually suggest who should be the next Supreme Court president, and who should be in the appeal court down to the Federal High Court? But if we continue to allow politics to play below, we can never get it right, because whether we like it or not, Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, and it's only in this part of the world, it's only in Africa, that you will have hundreds of people being kidnapped, hundreds of people being killed, hundreds of people being slaughtered, hundreds of people being burned to death, and the pictures are there in the net. Yet we have people that are good speakers, they are very loquacious. All they do is to come and use their loquacious prowess to come and confuse people, and people want to believe that yes, Oga is working. But we are telling you that wait and see. When the time for their real business starts, which is politics, which is election, you will discover that security will be guaranteed 100%. We have seen where 40,000 personnel will be deployed to an election that might not even take more than 3-4 hours. But we have not seen where 40,000 people, personnel, are actually deployed to Borno, deployed to Kwara, deployed to Benue, deployed to Katsina, deployed to Zamfara, deployed to Sokoto, and yet we have some people who claim to be clerics are saying that if you speak against the government, in fact, you are using derogatory words which are not acceptable. So, but the killing of people is acceptable.
Amon Quiz, you know that this thing that is happening in the global market will also affect us in
it has started affecting us,
and that might also mean that lean resources will also be what so many people will start experiencing, and that might also lead so many people into crime. But then, before I go into that, all the problems of the Nigerian police should be captured in the framework of the state police,
sure,
so that they will be avoided. Number one, the issue of human rights abuse, where you see people being humiliated, people being harassed, just to part away with something. A youth corps member in Lagos, in Ikorodu, went on Twitter to tweet that 5 days ago he was going on the way and the police accosted him. They picked up his phone. When they saw dollar inside his account, they asked him that he should send $1,000 to a particular account. They found that money in his cryptocurrency. At the end of which, he was with his girlfriend. They picked her in his own car. They humiliated her, because the first thing they do is to try to intimidate him.
Yeah.
So can we also disabuse the new state police that is coming from this particular action? Because the moment the people start seeing them as adversaries instead of friends, then it becomes a very big problem. Again, professionalism. Can we ensure that the people who are giving these uniforms are neat people? Because I also want to see policemen that are neat.
Yeah.
I don't want to see rough-looking policemen, haggard-looking policemen, dirty-looking policemen, drunken-looking policemen, substance abuse-looking policemen. No. Can we also ensure that their welfare is guaranteed, like we said rightly? And now back to the issue that whether we like it or not, is going to affect us domestically. And I ask the question, what are we doing to ensure that at least we also mitigate against the counter or the effect or the consequence of the war that is happening right now between the United States, Israel, and also Iran?
And
what are we doing in the Middle East? Because the entire Middle East right now is actually tensed. Ronaldo had to start his private jet and left Saudi Arabia almost immediately. For safety. Because he doesn't know whether a missile can also hit him in Saudi Arabia. And you know that Donald Trump always launches weekend military campaigns. He always waits for the stock market to close so as to prevent chaos. Because even in the war, they are also being very, very careful. And you know that the global economy depends on energy supply in the Gulf region.
Sure.
And I told you about a place called the Strait of Hormuz. It's a waterway. It's a shipping route that supplies Gulf energy to global markets. And that means that crude from Saudi, crude from UAE, crude from Iraq, crude from Kuwait, crude from Jordan, crude from Iran access and passes through Hormuz alongside liquefied natural gas coming from Qatar. So 20 million barrels per day move through the Hormuz. And 1/5 of global consumption actually come from that place. 20% global LNG also passes through this particular place. And the history of Hormuz can go back to even the 1980s, where we had the tanker war between Iraq and Iran. Iraq attacked ships to weaken Iran's war effort by targeting its military supplies and later its exports by sea. And in retaliation, Iran attacked the ships of Iraq's trading partners. Is it different from what is happening today? Where you have tanker owners, oil majors, trading houses, they have also announced closure. And oil supply is already dwindling as we speak. And you know that any disruption of Hormuz affects global energy. Iran bombed oil facilities in Saudi. Iran bombed oil facilities in Qatar. They bombed oil facilities in Kuwait. Now marketers are reacting immediately and oil and gas price is actually rising. Higher oil price will also be of advantage to countries like Nigeria because we expect budget surplus. The amount of borrowing will also reduce because we have enough, just like we had during Jonathan's time, to also really fund our budget. Are we taking advantage of that?
Let's pay some bills. We'll be right back. This is Political Update. Stay here. Welcome from the break. Still Political Update going on live on Silverbird Radio 93.7 FM here in the city of Jos. Today is the 5th day of March, the year 2026, and we are actually doing our best to go through the papers and also analyze them to the best of our abilities, bring up the place the option on the table, then allow you to make your own personal choice and informed decisions. But you were still talking about the issue of how this crisis or the war happening in the Middle East with the involvement of America will definitely affect us, whether we like it or not. Bello, there are a lot of things that will definitely affect Nigerians. Number one, it's the same petroleum product that we use to drive our vehicles to farms. It's the same petroleum product, that is diesel, that tractors use to go to the villages and reduce the burden of direct, shall I say, fiscal labor for the farmer in the village.
Yes.
Now, if the diesel was sold at 1,010 naira, as we speak right now, it might jump to 1,100.
Yes.
So the person that will pay is not the government, it's the average man in the village. And you know what the man in the village passes through. And these are people that are actually keeping the economy afloat. Why? Because when you go to the markets, Faringada for example, building material for example, and other markets, it is the average businessmen and women that are actually keeping the economy afloat. Why? Because if they don't bring this food to the market, definitely me and you cannot see what to buy. So we are saying with a bombastic voice, when will it, how long will it take us rather to take advantage of situations? During the COVID-19 era, but if you ask me, it will have been a better advantage for Nigeria. Why? Because we didn't see people collapsing and dying on the streets, just like we see in America, India, and other countries. Nigerians and Africans, God has blessed us with a level of immunity, so to say, and we didn't see this kind of, shall I say, dead bodies on the street. So we are saying this morning that going forward, can we begin to see deliberate attempts, deliberate efforts in planning for the future? Because as we speak right now, Bello, United States and other developed countries, they are planning 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead, 30 years ahead. But what have been our plan? Today, if we have enough refineries across the length and breadth of this country, probably we'll be enjoying refining our products here and will generate more money in billions of dollars. Why? Because the byproducts that come out of crude oil alone is enough to even employ millions of Nigerians. Unfortunately, we don't have functional refineries except for the man who decided on his own to actually use his money to give us the best refinery that is actually saving our lives this morning. Imagine this war happening in the Middle East without a Dangote refinery.
That's exactly why we are insisting that we need to be productive. We need to address inflation. We need to address all our domestic problems because what this particular thing happening abroad is actually teaching us is, in fact, it's an opportunity and it's also a risk.
Yeah.
We should be able to take this advantage, because higher prices will definitely be of advantage to us, and it's also going to be leading to budget surplus for us in the country, and the amount that we also borrow to fund our budget will also reduce. And you know that food is imported in this country.
Sure.
So imagine if we are the ones producing our own food. Unfortunately for Dangote still import crude.
Yeah. Because
So
it's not getting enough.
it's not getting enough for its production. OPEC gave us 1.5 million as our statutory product,
Billion of goods.
this benchmark.
Yeah.
We are not meeting up to it. Even productively, we are meeting up to 1.4, 1.45, 1.48. That's exactly what our range is. Can we take advantage of this? Because like it or leave it, petrol and transport will increase. So can we now use the excess we'll be making to address our domestic inflation that is imminent? And can we also ensure that the gains that we will also have, as far as revenue is concerned, will also be used to mitigate what households that will be bearing this consequence will also be facing? Because it is actually an approbation and a reprobation. So there must be a balance at the end of the day. Can we ensure that energy that feeds directly into our transport and food prices is actually mitigating against the effect and consequence?
All right, let's still go back to the newspaper and take the next story quickly. Below, alleged terrorism, AGF takes over Malami and Sons trial. And of course, we know the duty and the responsibility of an Attorney General of the Federation. He is neither for Caesar nor against Caesar.
At all.
He is there to ensure that justice is served for the accused, the perpetrator, justice is served for the victims, and justice is also served for the society. But if at the end of the day we discover that this is taking a dimension towards pleasing the people in power, then definitely we are losing it. We are not standing for or against Malami and his son until a court of competent jurisdiction comes out with glaring facts to tell us that after hearing all arguments, after opening files and closing cases in the court, we have come to this verdict that the man is guilty or is not guilty. And we don't also want to have a situation whereby we have seen on several occasions in previous years where the EFCC will only arrest, taking somebody to court before they start their own investigation. At the end of the day, they end up losing a lot of cases. So we are saying this morning that the AGF should actually stand in the middle as a mediator to ensure that justice is served. If the man is guilty, please let him face the full wrath of the law. But if the man is not guilty, please let this man go and sin no more. We have seen a situation where UAE actually gave us the names of people that were said to be sponsoring terrorism, and they gave the names after taking them to court. Not that they assumed. It was in a court in UAE that they arrived at this conclusion. These are the people, in case the authorities are not aware, we want to remind them. We have Abdurrahman Ado Musa, Salihu Yusuf Adamu, Bashir Ali Yusuf, Muhammad Ibrahim Isa, Ibrahim Ali Al-Hassan, and Suraj Abubakar Muhammad. And they were alleged to have gathered money, raised funds for Boko Haram in Nigeria to the tune of, as at then, $782,000. Bello, that was big amount of money. So if at all this is the truth, if Malami failed, as they said in the allegation, can we see the government in power today taking up this case?
Of course, because part of what Malami is facing right now is this same case you mentioned. And that's why the Attorney General of the Federation right now should be very selfless and altruistic. Because whatever he does in office today will also be checked by another Attorney General tomorrow. The longest serving Attorney General we've ever had in Nigeria was F.R.E. Williams. We have the likes of Hezbollah, Jibola and the rest. They were actually long-term Attorney General. But today, are they still in office?
No.
So anybody can open your books. That's why we should be very cautious. Yesterday I was speaking to a radio station in Abuja, and I told them that indeed we have a lot of history to learn from. You can never be in power for life.
At all.
I heard Wike the other day saying that I want to repeat that Senator Iretikigigwe is not coming back. Are you God? Are you God?
As Mom Zainab will always ask from Angorogo, who knows who will see 2027?
Exactly. There was a time we had an Adedibu Lamidi.
Yes.
That was what I told them in the radio station. We had an Adedubu Lamidi that determines who actually goes into Agodi House.
The
That's the name of the government house in Oyo State. He removed the sitting governor, Ladoja. Ladoja today is the Olubade of Ibadan. And he brought his own stooge and acolyte, Akala. Because he had more House of Assembly members. Imagine, with all what the governor had in terms of finance, but you had a single individual
who is not in government.
He's not even in government, but he has all the House of Assembly members in his pocket. And when he was told that you don't have the number and you don't have the constitutional right, he said, what do you mean? What is constitution? And he went ahead to remove a sitting governor. Where is he today? Is he still the godfather of Ibadan politics?
The question.
We had an Arisokola Alao that during Abacha's time, every contract coming to the southwest goes to him. Okay. But the day students of UI will humble him. He had to remove the gun that is inside his car to be able to escape from that particular place because he didn't support June 12th. We had an Abacha that 5 political parties he established have already endorsed him,
including youth earnestly asked for Abacha, who the
Daniel Kanu, we don't even know where he is right now. All those contractors, where are they today?
They were feeling like small gods.
Immediately Abacha died, they said no. After all, Abdul Salam also have an A. They can change year to year. But this time around, youth earnestly asked for Abdul Salam. Where are all those people today? Where is Wadana?
Senior Bemites.
Where is Al Mustafa? Those were the people that their words were law in the past. Where is Gwarzo? These are questions. Where is Sabo? Brigadier General Sabo? Where is Omenka? These were people that if they tell you that Omenka is calling you a DMI, Directorate of Military Intelligence, you will be reading Psalm and Kusiyu at the same time.
Where is Sergeant Rogers?
Where is Sergeant Rogers? So, do you know that we had a man called Mao Zedong? They call him chairman in China. This man made 41 million people to die.
41 million?
As a ruler, 41 million.
That's more than the population of some countries.
He is the worst dictator ever. I don't even want to go to Joseph Stalin in Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Adolf Hitler that killed 6 million Jews. That's why when I see most of these people doing the same thing to small children, I say, do these people know their own history? Do they know what happened during the World War, where Jews were the victims? And now that you have your own state, you are still doing the same thing that the entire world, even established United Nations for. Because of you. Why was United Nations established? People don't know all this history. And now look at the number of children that died between last year and this year on the Palestinian side. Is it not the same thing that has just happened? So people don't bother to look at history. They think that what is happening today will definitely continue.
And they will remain in power.
And they will remain in power. There was a time Jimmy Wobodu was the one that was holding courts in Enugu. He told the sitting governor that if PDP will field him in 2003, that they will lose the state. And he was a sitting senator that time. He didn't know that that man was already consolidating on power. It was that man that created Ekweremadu.
Yeah.
It was that man that created so many of this Ebiano family, that most of them became senators and the rest. And he was the one that now retired, the same Jimmy Wobodu, that told him that he should start packing his bag. Oji Uzo Kalu, I told you that in 2007, he was so popular that he can tap Ojukwu in the presidential election.
Of all people.
Of all people. He scored 700 and something thousand. And guess which party? PPA. Where is the party today? And that's the party that he actually even used to bring Oji, his own chief of staff, Theodore Oji, to come and contest. That's why we had, in the history of Nigeria, we had for the first time the inauguration of a governor on May 28th.
Not 29.
Because the EFCC made the misfortune of releasing him before that particular period. So he heard that they were still coming to come and arrest him. So he said no. By the time he started enjoying immunity,
nobody will come for him.
Nobody will come for him. He was the chief of staff. They were in good terms. So all these things we are telling you, because power is transient. Where were the people that were fighting between the minister and the governor on the plateau? Joshua Dawe, Damishi Sambu. Where are they? The other day I saw Dawe, to be fair to him, very humble. In Net Cafe, he came there. No security, no nothing. They told him this Bello Lukman that didn't even remove money from his pocket and said, take. I can't really know how much because I also have people waiting for me outside. They had to also distribute to them. But that is telling you that this was a man that before now 10 cars were following, at least 20 cars were following. Where is Damishi Sango? Not to disrepute, put them in disrepute.
We're just trying to tell people the transcendency of power.
I've seen Tabgun in Amadou Bello driving himself. I have seen him. It's not like anybody told me. So that you will be careful when you have that power, because one day this power will no longer be with you. Then what next after that?
Bello, you just mentioned Tabgun, and it just crossed my mind. Then I was still learning my Panabiti work in Nepa, Zaria Road. But I know that during his time as the governor of Plateau State, a lot of students, especially in government schools, actually gave him plaudits. Why? Because he was able to register WAEC for them.
Even our friends, the donors in area,
yes.
Big Cell,
yes,
he said he's owing his ascendance to finishing his school, at least his WASC, to begin his taboo.
So now, how will people remember you? Because that's the question we keep asking. How will people remember you? Remember, the man that is accused of this terrorism today was the AGF himself.
Yes.
How he left that seat. Another person is overseeing his own case.
Exactly.
That same person will leave that seat. If there are bad records about the person that will be leaving that seat, another person will come and open your file.
Exactly.
So we are saying, do the right thing so that tomorrow people will remember you for good. Because whether we like it or not, it's not about the security you have now. It's not about the power you control now. It's not about the party that you associate or identify yourself with as we speak right now. But it's all about how would you be remembered going forward. Will you be remembered as one who actually came and did the right thing, or someone who came and actually witch hunt other people because you want to please or impress your principal? So we are saying this morning that the Attorney General of the Federation should be very circumspect in handling this case. Let him prove to the world, let him prove to Nigerians that he is neither for this or neither for that, but rather he's on the side of justice, he's on the side of equity, he's on the side of fairness. At the end of the day, when the judgment is read out, Malami will be happy that indeed justice is served.
Yes.
The society will be happy indeed justice is served.
Yes.
And the victims of terrorism will also clap their hands and say justice was served.
Exactly, and that's why we are also insisting that we should be able to be very, very objective. We should be very pious. We should be very upright. We should be very honest in all our dealings, so that when your history will be told. Why are we still talking about Prince Bola Ajibola, a former Attorney General of the Federation? The man says that I am a Muslim, and I want my traits to follow me wherever I am going to. Don't tell me I'm a Muslim only by mouth, or I'm a pastor only by mouth. In the this thing that was this panel that they did during Goodluck Jonathan, that they called them to Abuja, Aluko was among them.
The Constitutional Conference. Yes.
We had imams, we had pastors. But how many of them rejected the largesse that was given to them? We had former governors.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the three of them that rejected. Bakari is one of them.
Yes.
Ulisa Agbakoba is one of them. But do you know that Jerry Husseini was among those people that were in that conference?
Of blessed memory.
Of blessed memory. We had very rich people that can actually tell the world that I don't need this money, but they still collected.
They were dragging on how to sign the paper to collect their own.
So you see, so when it comes to selflessness, when it comes to altruism, it's in the blood. Is Pastor Tunde Bakari that rich?
No.
To say, let me reject this?
But on principle.
On principle. I have my money. The last World Cup, Mbappe said, I don't want money from France. I have my money. I would rather use my money to even uplift the French national team. While we have the likes of Mikel Obi that were still fighting over money when our friend Solomon Dalun was minister. Recently he mentioned it. In the D. In the last Nations Cup, what did he say? He said, if the nation would not pay this allowance, I will pay. It's in the D. Richard and Mikel Obi.
No.
So these are the things that we need to be looking out for in people.
Bello, we have so many footballers that have actually written their names on the global stage and they are still writing it. And also, they have wealth, enough wealth that you can only imagine how do they get to that position or to that point where they have that kind of money, yet they are very generous. Bello, if you want to talk about philanthropy in football or among footballers, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of them.
Yes.
Messi is one of them. We have even our own Sadio Mane is one of them.
Yes.
But can we ask ourselves this question? How many of us actually have that kind of magnanimity to say that, okay, we are sacrificing this for nation, we are sacrificing this for community, we are sacrificing this for the average people? Bello, from the days of the what do you call it, Emmanuel Ogwedengbe, and Best Ogwedengbe, and down to the days of Rashidi Yakini, and maybe, if you ask me, maybe it stopped around USA 94, Atlanta 96. That was where we saw people actually playing not for the money, but let them wear that green-white jersey to represent Nigeria.
Yes.
I cannot remember the qualifying match that Nigeria went to play. Something happened, and the trousers, the short knickers for the national team, it's like whether they are also the same with the opponent or they forgot them somewhere.
They forgot them. They had to cut their track.
Their tracksuit, they brought out scissors and cut it. Why? Because they actually want to represent the nation. But today, we have seen people protesting, we will not go and play this match if they don't pay us our money. We ask the question, of all the Nigerians that actually voted for politicians into office, how many of them even benefit a fraction of what sportsmen benefit? And how many of these sportsmen that benefit humongous amount of dollars from taxpayers' money that are actually given back to the society?
I always love it when you mention the USA 94 team, because that's one team that actually came while my own formative years was actually happening. And because of my retentive memory, I always love to mention from number 1 to number 11, including their reserve players, which I'm not sure I can do the same for our present day team, despite the presence of the social media. I can tell you, as at that time, the likable selection from Aloy Agu to Peter Rufai in post, to Ruben Agbola on number 2, or Austin Eguavon, because people don't know that Austin Eguavon was even playing number 2.
Sure.
Number 3 is Ben Iroha. Later on, Odeze came. Number 4 is Stephen Keshi. Later on, Ulisi came. Number 5 is the chairman, Uche Okechukwu. Then Chidi Nwanu will always be there with him. Number 7 is either Finidi George or Finidi George. Number 8, you have 3 people.
Yeah.
You have Samson Siasia, Daniel Amokachi, Mutu Adepoju. Number 9 doesn't have rival. It doesn't have anybody on the bench.
They always have a consensus.
Rashidi Yakini is there. Number 10, JJ Okocha is there for you. And number 11, you have Amonike. That's the lineup. Today, how many people can even mention from 1 to 11 of even those that played Nations Cup apart from Osimhen?
Maybe Ademola Lookman.
And maybe
Kevin Bassi. Maybe we'll start guessing. Okay, I think I remember one.
Exactly.
But nobody can actually give the names as from start to finish without stammering.
And Osimhen, you know him. He can never ghost in a match.
Yeah.
That's why people will be singing Osimhen, Ajasare, Owo Jonah, Osimhen. Even though that's not what they say, but our Yoruba people have changed it to suit their own narrative.
Well, we are saying all this just for us to actually see that we build our nation, and there are so many aspects, so many ways we can contribute towards building the nation. The average man in the village there is trying to build the nation by ensuring that he goes to farm, and what he's asking the government is not much. Give us graded roads. We don't even need quota in those villages to go to the farm, and give us security.
Yes.
Because people have stopped going to farms. Why? Because there is high rate of insecurity.
Yes.
Then we should also appreciate the fact that we have leaders and we need to respect them because they are there to do the needful. But when we always want to take things personal with our leaders, at the end of the day, we distract them from actually giving us dividends of democracy. We have seen people that they are stuck in trade below is to go and meet politicians, and what they ask is not for the community but for self.
For self.
And that's why most politicians will run away from people, because when I hear people saying that we have been sending text to this person, we have been calling this person, he doesn't reply, he doesn't pick calls, go and check the real reason. You might be shocked to hear that the person has been asking for money and that person has blocked his line.
Exactly.
Now he's using maybe the media to blackmail that person.
Yes.
We are not on that side
At all.
We are also here to stand with the real security, whether the police, whether the mobile police, NSCDC, the military, that's the army, the air force, and the navy, or any paramilitary. We are standing with those that are always sticking their necks on the line, and not those that are going there to actually compromise the system to make money at the detriment of human lives. How much we can take on the program this morning. We appreciate everybody for contributing on this program. David Friday, thank you for producing us. Timmy, thank you for always being there. And fine boy journalist, no pimples, Ugo, the bishop himself. We appreciate you. And to all our listener and viewer out there, continue to contribute your quota towards the development and growth of Nigeria. My name is Pam Dunquist. Hope to see you at the other side of sunrise tomorrow. Do have yourself a lovely day. Bye-bye.